Hey everyone, George Farming Food Vlog. Today I'm going to be talking about banana site selection. Just like real estate, location matters. We're going to go through 6 points, and each of these are just as important as fertilizing and watering your banana to ensure that you have proper growth. So let's jump into it. First off, point number 1, sunlight. As you can see on banana plants, the leaves are really huge and they're green. That means they need a lot of photosynthesis. That's how they grow. The more sunlight that you can get onto these leaves, the more food they're gonna make, the faster they're gonna grow, the healthier they're gonna be, the bigger bananas that you're gonna get. So if possible, you need at least 6 hours of sunlight a day, direct sunlight, for banana plants to really grow at optimal speeds. Even having more than that is even better. If you can get 12 to 14 hours of sunlight, that's really ideal. But as long as you can get 6 hours, just make sure to plant somewhere that gets direct sunlight. You're gonna be in a good place to get started for these. Got a quick tip for you based on this. If you're in the northern hemisphere, just like I am, if you plant your banana trees on the south side of your house or trees or whatever, fences, you'll ensure that the sun, which is directly to the south of us, always has a direct path and is never impacted and causes shade by any building or anything. All right, let's jump to point number 2. We're talking about temperature here. So if you think about where the ideal place that bananas grow, it's in the tropics, where temperatures are in the mid 80s, low 80s year round. So while they do love it warm and humid, they don't like it too hot. So in Georgia, some places in Florida, definitely Texas, Southern California, if you get temperatures up into the 90s or even break 100, and you have that direct sunlight, it's going to hurt your banana plant and stunt their growth. So something that I do is make sure that you have afternoon shade. So morning sunlight is really good because you get all the photosynthesis in the morning that's nice, bright light, but not super hot. In the afternoon is where that sunlight can really bake down on your trees and then damage the leaves and overall just stunt the growth. So what I tend to do is, if you notice over here, I have a bunch of trees to the west, and this is the side where the sun sets in the afternoon. So my banana plants, from the morning, right when the sun rises, I get direct sunlight for about 10 hours, and then right around 5 p.m., 4 p.m. or so, I start getting shade, the afternoon shade, where my banana plants, just as they start to heat up and get a little too hot, they start getting some relief from the shade, and it still has plenty of sunlight and warmth, but they don't end up overheating. Got another tip for you guys based on the temperature. So if you plant your banana plants near a wall, especially a white wall, you can get reflective heat off the wall to really help warm your banana from the backside. So even when the sun sets and is in the far south due to it being winter, you can get reflective heat and actually get sunlight and warmth from both sides. And this will actually raise the temperature a couple degrees and really help during winterizing and then growth in the summer. Number 3, talk about drainage. Bananas, while they love water, they don't like swimming, and you can actually drown them. And this is a much bigger issue during the winter when they're not growing quite as fast, but it can happen in the summer too. So you want to make sure that your banana plant, you don't plant them anywhere in like a recessed hole or below ground level or anywhere that just has water pooling. They love well-drained soils. So you can add some sand in there to help with drainage, or for me, my property is really well sloped. So anywhere on a hill, as you can see, I built it up a little bit to help, but overall on the hill, the water is going to flow through and drown into the root system, but it's going to continue going, so it's just not sitting in water. And this is really the ideal situation, because it's much better to water them daily and not have them dry out that way, as opposed to having them sit in water, because you're going to end up having root rot. All right, number 4, tagging along with the drainage issue here, is we want to make sure that we're near a water source though. So this can be something simple as close to a faucet where you can put a hose, or next to a sprinkler system that you have, because banana plants, while they will survive with just rain, they love having as much water as you can. If you can water them every day, come out here just a quick 5 minutes, it would really help in the growth. So for me, I have a hose that I just run out over here to where my bananas are, and this is perfectly fine. If you don't have an area where you can get the hose directly to it, Maybe you have a sprinkler system in your yard that you can put it nearby so that when you run your sprinklers, it also hits the banana plants. And then some other like small little tips is, if you notice, I have mine lined up perfectly with the roof of my house so that when it rains, all the water falls directly on the bananas to make sure that we get a ton of water, even with just a little bit of rain. But then you got to be careful about that also. Is like, if you plant them too close to a building or too close to trees, you might actually block the rainwater where it would come too far off and not hit the bananas at all. So just make sure you're in a spot where, one, it gets ideal rainwater, and then two, you're close enough to a location where you can manually water as well. Quick tip for you here, if you go the hose path like I have, just be careful, because when it gets this hot during the summer, the water inside the hose gets burning hot, where it'll actually burn your hand if you touch it. And if you spray that directly on your bananas without actually just letting it cool off and get to the colder water, and you can burn them and actually do some pretty serious damage. So what I always do is just kind of spray it for a little bit and then put your hand over here, and when it starts getting cool to your hand, that's when you know you're ready to spray your bananas. Here we are with tip number 5. We're talking about spacing. So in between two individual banana plants, you want to leave around 4 to 5 feet, just kind of like a little over 1 arm's length away. And there's really 3 main reasons for this. The first, the biggest one, is just the size of the root ball, the corm of the banana plant. So if you notice this one banana plant, you have all these pups going around. I've got 4 here, and you definitely don't want to leave this many on here. I did this just for representation so that you can see that all these are coming from the same root ball, and they will continue to grow and become bigger and bigger and bigger. And this root ball can actually get out to 6 feet in diameter and keep on throwing up new banana plants all around. And the issue with this is, if you plant 2 banana plants within just a couple feet of each other, their corms will actually start to impact and hit each other underground, and it just limits the overall growth. So you want to make sure that you have enough space for them to grow out, because the bigger they get, the faster they're going to grow, the better the bananas you're going to have. Part number 2 of this is that there's shade. If you put your banana plants too close to each other, and one of them is, to the north if you're in the northern hemisphere, or just, if you have afternoon shade and it's over here, it loses all the morning shade, because these leaves are huge. If I'm standing right here, I'm completely shaded all morning. So if you have a smaller pup that's trying to grow over here on a new banana plant, it's never going to get any sunlight because of the ones that are beside it. So spacing them out 4 to 5 feet allows for each one to get its own amount of sunlight that's going to be needed for achieve healthy growth. All right, and part number 3 is just airflow. If you haven't spaced too far together, wind can't get in here and just keep fresh air from going through. You want to allow some space so you can get fresh air. And this is also, you ever seen my video on pruning? This is why we prune. You don't want just 1,000 leaves all over these banana plants. You want 4 to 5 healthy, good leaves at the top. And you want to prune off all the others to allow for good airflow and allow all of these little banana plants to breathe and just grow healthy. And I'll link to that video right now. Now we're on to the 6th and final tip. This one might not be applicable to everybody here, but it is something to keep in mind depending on the type of banana that you're growing. So specifically, if you're growing Mysore bananas or really tall ones that have skinny trunks, you want to be able to plant them somewhere that's close to a support structure. So, because the issue is, these bunches of bananas that come out on these with hundreds of bananas weigh a ton. So when these get up to be 14, 15 feet tall in fruit, and they start hanging over with the bananas, you can actually have the trunks of these just snap in half, and you will lose all of your crop. So something that you can proactively do is plant them near some sort of wooden structure, or near the house or a tree or something, where once they start to fruit, you can actually just tie them up over to the structure and give them a little bit of support, just to help hold on to the weight of the bananas without them snapping in half. Thanks for watching, everybody. Just a quick update here. I know you guys love seeing the dwarf Namwa that I'm growing here. we're up to just about 6 feet. This thing is growing like crazy. Stay tuned. It's going to flower this summer for sure. And we're gonna have all the videos about that, as well as how we winterize and keep alive over the winter. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see next.